Hi there, Josh here with USI Tech LegalClaims.com and LegalCrypto.pro, bringing you another video about USI Tech and updates that are going on there with the company. A few days ago, an interview was taken with the CEO of USI Tech, and a worldwide update was provided for the company. The update and the video, the interview, included information about US and Canada. Some statements were made about the company possibly coming back into the United States and Canada in the future. That seems very interesting to us. We'll cover that in this video. We're going to cover that video and that interview in depth in this video and compare what was said there to things that have been said in the past. Principally, and very interestingly, in that interview, comments and statements were made that relate to the financial standing of the company, USI Tech, and why things happened with US and Canada as they did, and why the ability to withdraw BTC was taken away. Basically, those concerns come down to, it seems, from what was said in that interview, to concerns about the financial standing and status of the company. So we're going to get into that in this video today. We're going to, again, compare what was said in the past and what was said in that recent interview just a few days ago. Just for the record, today is the morning of January 25th, 2018, and so it was just a few days ago that that interview was put out with the CEO of USI Tech. While others were putting out videos in rapid succession over the last week about issues going on with USI Tech, here we preferred to take an approach of kind of wait and see. We wanted to see what would happen, what would develop, what the company would do, wouldn't do, when they would do those things. It now seems time and appropriate and ripe to put this video out and to talk about what's been going on and what was said. So we're going to cut to the computer screen so that we can show you some things directly, and we'll get into it. Well, hi there again. It's the afternoon of January 26th. Shortly after almost completing our video yesterday, USI Tech put a new message into the back office that needed to be addressed in this video. So we had to take some extra time, do our fact checking, and be able to be prepared to address those things. So here we are. Full disclosure, it's no longer the 25th, as I just mentioned a few moments ago, but it's now the afternoon of the 26th. So now we'll be able to get into it. Okay, as we move forward here, first we have some housekeeping issues. This will keep us on track since there's a lot to cover here. The game has changed. What can be done now? Principally, I will talk about that at the end of this video, but I want that to be in your mind as we continue forward all the way through this. So it's right at the top there. This is going to be an evidence-based video. What has been stated now and in the past, as well as other relevant facts, information, and evidence that exists that is relevant to all of this. The issues that are going to be addressed in this video primarily come from the video and the interview with the CEO of USI Tech that was put out several days ago. And several issues that were addressed in that video, which are going to be addressed in this video, are why USI left US and Canada, USI coming back to the US and Canada, when and how USI is coming back to the United States and Canada, USI allegedly engaging with law enforcement authorities, regulatory agencies in the US, that was a claim that was made, Ethereum blockchain transparency, that was discussed in the interview put out several days ago, we'll discuss that here, and the money reserves of USI Tech being damaged. That will be discussed. The update, issue 7 there that you see, is because of the back office update that USI Tech put into the back office yesterday on January 25th, which caused us to have to revamp this video just a little bit. What are we doing? Again, the game has changed. As you can see, we'll address that near the end of the video. And the tagline at the very bottom there, be informed, be smart. You have to decide for yourself what you're going to do moving forward.
There's been a lot of changes. Obviously, the withdrawal of USI from the USA and Canada was one of the biggest things that's happened early this year. Can you just tell us what were the events that led up to that happening and made you decide to actually come out of the States and Canada? If you can just elaborate a little bit on that so people understand what predicament the company was put into.
There are two reasons why we finally came to this decision. The first thing I have to tell you is, I don't know, but since we are in the business, we always told people, I always told people that I'm happy to fight for USA for many reasons. And but I also told whenever I had a chance to speak to the audience or to our partners live on live events, I always told them, please be aware, if you don't market and communicate our business right, especially in USA, with all the difficulties, not only with us as USI Tech, but also many other companies, we're going to have some difficulties. And then finally, difficulties appeared, and our lawyers, and Jonathan is one of them, who was in charge with all this. He had to communicate all these upcoming issues with Texas, Canada, and what else. And that was ongoing, and we have sent out many warnings where we told people again and again, please don't behave with this marketing communication. Don't come up with this hype of our business or whatever, overselling of our business by showing your back offices, your incomes, your Ferraris, your Lamborghinis, your millions of incomes. We do have the best market plan, and we do have high incomers in our business, and that's great. But this overhype in USA especially made many whatever offices or law departments a bit nervous, and Jonathan, our lawyer, was dealing with that, and that was one case. And I come back to Jonathan and our where we are with all this. So the other thing was, we realized in December there was a out of a system error in our system, a huge abuse in our system from partners, or a lot of partners. And finally, that was the reason why we decided to switch off USA and Canada in order to stop the wrong communication in the market, one thing, and stop the abuse as well. So that was the reason why I finally decided to switch USA and Canada.
Okay, the point there basically was that USI shut off the United States and Canada because of mass abuses in the system. I've pointed out in previous videos, and I'll just say it again briefly, that argument really doesn't make a whole lot of sense. We don't understand how it makes sense, because under the compression aspect of the compensation model within USI Tech, the 35% commissions would roll on up the upline until it hit 12 people who had qualified to receive those commissions. So with multiple account registrations, or as the company likes to say, fraudulent or false multiple account registrations and or registering accounts under family members, all of those things, to the extent that the policies and procedures of the company did not allow for that and said you could not do. From the company's financial perspective, the company would not really be impacted, because the company would have to pay the 35% across 12 levels deep to somebody in the upline. It's just a question of to whom those percentages would be paid. So the true aggrieved parties potentially here are the upline, who did not receive commissions because of these double account registrations and whatever, by people that were capturing their own commissions, in other words. So from the company's perspective, we just don't understand. It doesn't make a lot of sense that this caused or would have caused or could have caused problems financially to the company. At least we just don't understand how that could be.
Also, we are working since then on a legal statement, and we are almost there where we believe we can switch USI Tech and USA and Canada on again.
Wow. So we're nearly at the point that we can actually switch America and Canada back on. Is that
That's
what
right.
That's what you're saying, Horst?
That's right.
So the point of that basically is that they believe that they can, or they are representing that they are planning on coming back into the U.S. and Canada. That claim seems at best to be questionable because of regulatory and legal things that are still going on in the United States, and that actually go contrary to other claims made by the company regarding never having had any legal problems and issues. Some of those things we will cover later in this video, actually in more depth. So I won't totally cover it thoroughly right here, right now. But beware in continuing on in the business in the United States. There still is the Texas order that is stating and claiming that the products are unregistered securities. So we just simply don't understand how this claim is made.
The obvious questions now are going to be, what is the approximate time frame? You probably can't answer these, but I'm going to ask anyway. Have you thought about time frames in launching back into the States?
The way we're going to switch USA and Canada back on again will be, first of all, we have to take care, as I always told everybody who was in front of me or I was involved in discussions, our first priorities are our customers, as they are participating on our business with our brilliant product, BTC packages, and we're going to switch this on first of all. So we're going to continue to let people withdraw their return of BTC packages, which is their money they have invested into our company. But out of the fact that we have closed USA and Canada until today, we're going to do that in a controlled form, because I'm a bit afraid that that's going to be, once we switch it on again, it's going to be like a bank robbery. Everybody think he has to take out or pull out as much as possible because maybe it's just for a short time frame or whatever. So it has to be in a controlled way in order to make sure that we protect the company. But of course, it was never the intention to steal someone's money or to take someone's money away.
So that's issue 3, principally how and when USI Tech will come back into the United States and Canada. When, not really answered. We don't know. They don't know, it seems like. As to how, in a controlled manner. There's fear that people will rush to withdraw all their Bitcoin from the system. Now that's disconcerting, because the way this kind of investment is supposed to work, and the way that things have been presented and stated in the past, is that the company makes so much money, hand over fist, just makes tons and tons and tons of money, that you would never really need to get into reserves or deal with those kinds of concerns about having enough money.
The nonsense and the rumor mills then start spreading that our legal advisor hadn't engaged with the authorities in the States. Can you just confirm that, obviously we did engage with the authorities out there, and off the back of that, I think you've got some good news coming, because what was the outcome of it? I know we've seen a first, I think you got a first draft about half an hour ago or so, but this has been something you've been working on furiously in the background. I mean, people sort of say, well, where's Horse, where's Ralph, and all the rest of it. There's an awful lot of work and to-ing and fro-ing. You can't actually come out with anything until you've got that document in your hand, which I believe you've got today, not fully digested yet, but essentially, can you just confirm that we did engage and what the outcome was of those lawyers?
We were always engaged from the very beginning with lawyers, not only in USA. We are consistently engaged with our lawyers worldwide. We had a special group of lawyers in USA always. Finally, it was Jonathan Herbie who was involved in all the latest upcoming issues. And finally, he was the one who strongly recommended to switch off USA and Canada out of the latest results on his end. So and that's a clear statement, and that's important, not because we did some illegal or wrong things in USA or in Canada, but because our partners marketed and communicated it in a wrong way, and all these legal apartments or financial apartments in USA, they strongly recommended that we need to communicate marketing and sales in a different way over our partner. Otherwise, that's the most important statement. USI Tech in USA and Canada never did anything in terms of illegal things in USA. All the departments, they confirmed once you market the product and you communicate it in the right way, there is nothing within your company, your product, your activities, we would see anything illegal. So this is something this is the reason why we finally switched the system in USA and Canada off.
Okay, so the question that was asked by the interviewer was, isn't it true that our legal team did engage and did answer the authorities in the U.S.? And the response that was given did not at all address whether any authorities had been contacted or responded to, but rather merely that USI Tech has a specialized legal team in the U.S. A certain attorney's name was mentioned, and the point was made, the only point made really was that USI Tech has always engaged with its legal counsel in the U.S. No, in the answer, nothing mentioned about responding to or contacting legal authorities. On this point, we have some further information. Okay, so this is a response email from the Texas State Securities Board to an email that was sent to the Texas State Securities Board on January 23rd. So this is after the interview, the video interview with the CEO of USI Tech. It is also after the 31 days had run and was up for USI Tech to be able to timely respond to the Texas State Securities Board, its emergency action. As you can read yourself, the email states that they can confirm that the agency has not received a written request challenging the emergency action, that a hearing has not been set to consider whether the emergency action should be set aside, that the Securities Commissioner has not stayed the emergency action, and that the emergency action remains in full force and effect. In referring to the emergency action, they're referring to the cease and desist order. So basically, this is saying that everything as of January 23rd, 2018 is exactly the same as it had been previously. The cease and desist order is still in effect, and nothing has changed. This goes contrary to and seems contradictory to what was stated before, as well as other things that we will address later on that were addressed in the interview. Okay, so we just looked at an email, the timing of which came after the 31 days that USI Tech had to respond to the Texas State Securities Board's cease and desist order, and it came after the video interview with the CEO of USI Tech. However, that email came before USI Tech put into its back office yesterday, which was January 25th, its new notice and its attorney letter stating the various and many different things that's stated in that letter and in the attorney's letter. So because of that timing, it became necessary again to double check the facts on what contact, if any, USI Tech has had with authorities in the United States.
We were always engaged from the very beginning with lawyers, not only in USA. We are consistently engaged with our lawyers worldwide. We had a special group of lawyers in USA always. Finally, it was Jonathan Herbie who was involved in all the latest upcoming issues. And finally, he was the one who strongly recommended to switch off USA and Canada out of the latest results on his end. So not, and that's a clear statement, and that's important, not because we did some illegal or wrong things in USA or in Canada, but because our partners marketed and communicated it in a wrong way, and all these legal apartments or financial apartments in USA, they strongly recommended that we need to communicate marketing and sales in a different way over our partner. Otherwise, that's the most important statement. USI Tech in USA and Canada never did anything in terms of illegal things in USA. All the departments, they confirmed once you market the product and you communicate it in the right way, there is nothing within your company, your product, your activities, we would see anything illegal. So this is something this is the reason why we finally switched the system in USA and Canada off.
So further communications were sent to the Texas State Securities Board, again asking if USI Tech had made contact with the Texas State Securities Board regarding its regulatory issues. This new communication was sent after USI Tech had posted its new notice in the back office yesterday on the 25th, as well as the attorney letter. So this email, an email was sent, and then this is a picture of the response that was received back. I suspect that in the actual video this will not be very viewable, for which reason here in just a moment I'm going to switch to recording on my screen and make it larger so that it's more viewable. So we'll do that now. Okay, here we have the email response that I just showed you a minute ago. Hopefully this will be in a much more viewable format for you so that you can read along. Again, the Texas State Securities Board email address at ssb.texas.gov. The Texas State Securities Board was contacted after USI Tech posted in its back office the new notice and the attorney letter yesterday on the 25th of January. And this response came back from the Texas State Securities Board. The primary inquiries related to whether or not USI Tech had contacted authorities, had contacted the Texas State Securities Board, as well as the nature of the complaints and issues that the Texas State Securities Board had and has with USI Tech. Many claims are being made that things only pertain to distributors and to marketing materials and not to anything else, not to the company itself, not that the company had not done anything wrong. This letter discusses that. So you can read for yourself here the response. As I'll scroll down, I've redacted anything that was personally identifying or that had any kind of personal discussion or mention about certain things related to their office. Just took that out. Not necessary and not appropriate to show. So scrolling down here, up here he just simply states that he's going to reply and provide certain information. The actual substantive reply in boldface type is below. So we'll go down here. So as you can see, I've highlighted certain portions that are especially important. You can read the entire thing. I will cover the highlighted portions. It reads, I can confirm that as of the date of this message, and to the best of my knowledge, we have not received a writing demanding a hearing to challenge the emergency order, and I can also confirm that a hearing has not been set at the State Office of Administrative Hearings. He goes on to state down here, I can confirm that the Securities Commissioner has not stayed the order and it is not set aside after a hearing because a hearing has not taken place. Therefore, the emergency cease and desist order is still in force and effect. Remember, this is coming after things were posted in the back office yesterday on the 25th. He goes on to state, but it also, the emergency cease and desist order named 2 sales agents, but it also specifically named USI Tech Limited. It is a lawful order that requires USI Tech Limited to immediately stop illegal and fraudulent conduct. Any claims to the contrary are simply not true. The emergency action may have found violations by 2 sales agents, but it also found that USI Tech was violating the law. Again, although the emergency action named 2 sales agents, it also named USI Tech. It found that USI Tech was engaging in fraudulent, misleading, and deceptive conduct. In fact, paragraph 13 of the emergency cease and desist order found that USI Tech, and not sales agents, was intentionally failing to disclose 5 points of information that constitute material facts. Under Section 4 of the Securities Act defines fraud to include the intentional failure to disclose material facts. Taking into account paragraph 13 alone, the order alleges that USI Tech and not its sales agents committed fraud as it relates to those 5 points of disclosure. This goes diametrically contrary to the argument or the position that USI Tech has never had any problems, legal problems, or otherwise in the United States, and that nothing was ever done, even allegedly done, wrong by the company. According to the Texas State Securities Board, this speaks for itself. Also, Section 7 of the Securities Act generally requires the registration of all securities offered and sold in Texas. Section 12 of the Securities Act also requires the registration of all entities that offer or sell securities in Texas. The emergency action found that USI Tech was offering its investment program without the investment program being registered per Section 7, and that USI Tech was not properly registered per Section 12. These violations relate to the two sales agents, but they also specifically relate to USI Tech. Dropping down here to the bottom, I can tell you, though, that to the best of my knowledge, USI Tech is not registered in Texas and its securities are not registered in Texas as of the date of this message. Okay, so as we just saw, we got further communication from the Texas State Securities Board after USI Tech posted in its back office yesterday on the 25th its new message and attorney letter. And in this new communication from the Texas State Securities Board, again, which came after that posting, that new posting in the back office, we learned from the Texas State Securities Board that no, USI Tech has not engaged regarding the Texas State cease and desist order. The cease and desist order remains in full force and effect. There has been no hearing. There is no hearing scheduled. There's been no request of any kind, it sounds like, regarding the cease and desist order. Also, the communications that we've received in the email that we just went over covers all the other things that are highlighted in yellow and or red that I won't rehash now. Now, for those of you who have not read it, the new message in the back office, the USI Tech back office, contains links to an English version and a German version of a letter, an actual full PDF copy of a letter from USI Tech's attorneys. These are the same attorneys that Horst references in the recording that we've listened to now twice. In USI Tech's attorney letter, again, it's linked to the message that is in the back office. The attorney letter makes clear that USI Tech has regulatory issues going on in 4 states: Hawaii, Minnesota, Texas, and Washington. So some communications were sent to those states requesting any information that would be possible to get from them about contact that has occurred in relation to USI Tech. And this is what we received in response. So contact was made with Hawaii along with the other states inquiring about these things. And the message that we received back simply states very clearly, securities compliance has no record of USI Tech. You may call securities enforcement for possible complaint history. And it gives the phone number. It would seem that securities compliance would handle any registrations or applications for registration, those kinds of things, whereas securities enforcement handles any complaints against any persons or entities related to any securities issues in the state of Hawaii. So this is another example of an indication that at least on the compliance side, as far as becoming registered, either the company or the products in Hawaii, they have no record of USI Tech in that context. So we've now come full circle on this issue of USI Tech engaging or not engaging with authorities in the U.S. We've gone through the evidence on that. You can assess that for yourself. It seems that according to both Texas and Hawaii, 2 of the states indicated in USI Tech's attorney's letter where they have regulatory things going on, which again is indicated in USI Tech's attorney's own letter. Those 2 states indicate that there has not been engagement with those states as to the Texas State Securities Board cease and desist order, and from any kind of compliance standpoint in Hawaii State, pointing us to contact enforcement for any complaints that may have been filed against USI Tech, as that division of labor exists apparently in Hawaii State. You can also assess for yourself, going down the list, this recap list, whether or not USI Tech ever did anything wrong or allegedly or potentially illegal. The Texas State Securities Board seems to have spoken very strongly on that. You can assess that for yourself. And then finally, whether or not marketing issues are the only issues really going on with USI Tech or that have been involved in the past. Again, it seems that from the Texas State Securities Board's position, that's not the case. Simply changing the marketing does not seem to cut it. And generally from a securities standpoint, and I've discussed this in my past videos, what is an investment contract, which investment contracts are securities, then therefore requires registration of the security, registration of the entity that is selling the security, as well as licensure by those being held by those who are selling the security. And just as a recap from past videos, it's a 4-part test as to whether something is a investment contract or not. All you have to have is person A giving person B something of value, anything of value. It does not have to be fiat currency, anything of value, with the expectation in the mind of person A that they are going to get a return, that they are going to get an increase, and that person B there is reliance on person B or on their expertise to do something with the money to provide or to create that increase. Some kind of managerial function or expertise function, something that person B is going to do that person A cannot do to cause or to bring about that increase, that return. That is an investment contract. Investment contracts are securities, and securities are regulated by state and federal laws on registration, registration of the security, registration of the entity selling it, and licensure of those selling securities.
And let me explain shortly why Ethereum mining is not transparent at the moment, because I asked our supplier a week ago to change the wallet for the income of the Ethereum mining. And there was no warning from our supplier that if we are going to change the wallet, and I changed the wallet for security reasons because the old wallet was not secure enough for whatever reasons. Takes too long to explain that. So I asked our supplier, change the wallet. He changed the wallet, and finally the transparency was gone. I said, so where is our transparency now? He said, you asked us to change the wallet. Once you change the wallet, the transparency is not connected to the wallet anymore, and you can't see it anymore. So nothing has changed in the Ethereum mining. We still mine and earn exactly the same as every day before on a daily basis. The only thing that has changed, supplier did not inform us once we changed the income wallet, our transparency is gone. Now we have to reassign it to the new wallet. Once this is done, to our new income wallet, Ethereum wallet, the transparency is the same like before.
Okay, so first things first. Within blockchain technology, Ethereum is on a blockchain. Within blockchain technology, addresses within the blockchain, wallets within the blockchain are like any other address or any other wallet in the blockchain. They use cryptologic keys to be able to open, to get access and to use that wallet or that address. There are private keys and public keys. The public key is what you share with someone when they are going to send you cryptocurrency. The private keys are the passwords and the codes and the various different things that are in place to keep things encrypted and to ensure that only you or only the appropriate person or persons can get access into that wallet or into that address holding cryptocurrency of whatever type on a blockchain. So the concern here from what was said is, did someone have inappropriate access to private keys into USI Tech's cryptocurrency wallets? We've seen cryptocurrency exchanges get hacked in the past, and their Bitcoin or their Ethereum or whatever cryptocurrency they're dealing with being able to be stolen, taken, because someone got a hold of the private keys. And so there's a little concern here about that, but we really don't know. There's not enough information here given to us for us to be able to know that for sure. Okay, so now we're going to go over what Horst covered in talking about the Ethereum blockchain transparency. For those of you that don't know, you can look at blockchains such as the Ethereum blockchain. You can even look at specific wallets and see how much cryptocurrency is in the wallet. There are things that you don't know about it, typically who owns the wallet, those kinds of things, unless there's some kind of public information that's made available about that, and you'll see some of that kind of information here in a minute. So you can just go to Google, type in View Ethereum Blockchain. There are various different ways and programs and utilities and tools that you can use to do this. I like etherchain.org. It has a report that is specifically helpful for this purpose right now. I'm going to go to charts. I'm going to go down to top miner 30 days. So this is going to show us the top miners in the world for Ethereum in the last 30 days. So it produces this chart. It's kind of clunky and hard to look at, but you can go along from day to day. The dates are down here at the bottom, and it will show you graphically who the top miners are. And back here you see on some of the past days back here, you'll see USI Tech. It's right there. There it is again. Here it is again. A better way to look at it probably is to click on these three little lines. Click Download XLS, Excel spreadsheet. I'm going to download that. I'm going to click on it to open it. All right, here we go. So this is a data table that shows us, each one of these columns shows us a different miner that is in the top 30, that is in one of the top miners in the world for Ethereum in the last 30 days. And it goes on for a little while here. So right here, you'll see USI Tech. And Horst comments about the Ethereum blockchain transparency. This right here is what he's talking about, those blanks. This all shows the hash rate of USI Tech and its Ethereum mining during these dates, on up through the 16th of January. But after that, they fall off. They're completely gone off the blockchain. No more mining. Now, what Horst indicated was that this occurred because they had to switch wallets for security reasons. The concern that it would seem there might be in that argument, though, is that we would expect to see in the top miners list, in one of these columns, going up through U, we would expect to see a wallet with maybe just an address. For example, OX625A is the beginning of an address, and then the USI Tech had put its name, had reported its name in relation to this wallet, so that's the transparency, okay? But we would expect to see that after the 17th, there would be a column for a miner that had zeros in all of these days, but had similar hash rate and mining on these dates from the 17th on, which potentially could be that new wallet address for USI Tech. But we don't see in any of these columns, we don't see in any column that kind of data where there are zeros from the 16th on backwards and data for mining on the 17th moving forward. And as you can see, this report does include miners that mine on and off again and are not consistent and are actually far below other miners. So this still falls into the category of we don't definitively know, but it raises a specter of a concern that they're still off. It's not that hard. It's also not that hard for a company or an individual to add that transparency back. We don't see that in these reports. We're not seeing that USI Tech has reassigned itself to a new wallet with its name showing up as mining, at least in this tool. and we're not seeing a new wallet address that has similar mining from the 17th on and zeros prior to the 17th. So those are some concerns related to the transparency of the Ethereum blockchain. But you have to remember what Horst said. And here's what he said.
So nothing has changed in the Ethereum mining. We still mine and earn exactly the same as every day before on a daily basis. The only thing that has changed, supplier did not inform us once we changed the income wallet, our transparency is gone. Now we have to reassign it to the new wallet. Once this is done, to our new income wallet, Ethereum wallet, the transparency is the same like before.
Where everything is the same as just like before, it would seem that we would see in the top miners list, even if USI Tech, its name is not showing up, it would seem that we would see something on the blockchain that we would likely be able to identify as USI Tech. So again, just a concern. Can't say definitively one way or another, but it is an issue. And it seems like the transparency should have been able to be restored by now.
If you remember, I was always talking on stage and live and whatever. The most important part are our reserves. So reserves means we always need to have enough in our reserves in order to be able to pay BTC packages, return of BTC packages back. So out of this abuse, we, especially in USA, not only in USA, but especially in USA, we damaged our reserves. Why? Because at the beginning of our business, it was trading only. We came from the Forex trading, as you remember. We then switched on the cryptocurrency trading, and then we blocked in mining, and mining was our main focus in terms of long-term investments within the last months. And that's exactly the problem, that we are now on long-term investments, and we have damaged a bit our reserves at the moment.
Okay, I mean, that's an interesting point. I mean, you know, the company moved into more long-term investments. There's been a hell of a lot of investment made in the mining side of things, and we're going to touch on the Ethereum pool in a second as well, because I know people want to hear about that. But the main thing here is we need to fulfill those contracts that are in place, and they're big contracts. I mean, I don't know if you can discuss in a second just how big those contracts are. And, you know, fulfilling those contracts will further, you know, give further stability to the business. And it is the longer term play. And that's where all of us need to be, in the sense that we, you know, need to get to the long term play.
So as I said in the beginning, this is an evidence-based video, and I don't understand this discussion. I have a hard time understanding this discussion about the reserves being damaged. The reserves are your backup. It's what you have to fall back on if things go wrong. And I don't understand this discussion because of what has been said in the past about USI Tech and its profitability. And I'm just going to let that speak for itself right now.
And the genius part of this product is the rebuy function.
Right.
You know, this compound effect. And that was, I believe, totally in this rebuy concept. And I said, we do it. I take the risk, we do it. And the rest is history. That's how I invented this 50 euro package, by the way. And so far, I can tell you, we have sold over 400,000 packages in 12 weeks. He, I would say, is responsible for, we have now over 40,000 partners in our system in 7 months. 40,000 partners in 7 months. And that's great, and that's thanks to Mike's activities, definitely.
So the question that he asked me to ask you is, how in God's name are we paying an average of 1% a day on the BTC package after we already paid out 35% commission?
Shall I tell you a secret? I'm not getting red, but first of all, we are doing money like crazy beside what we have to pay to our customers. That's true, but I think that's a good thing, because if we are able to make money as well, we can pay what we have to pay. And our first priority, my first priority, is always we must be safe on what we have to pay back to our partners. That's something I have to tell you. So, but let's have a look into the details. If I take 50 euros, or let's put it this way, I explain it with two packages. 100 is easier to explain. If I take 100 euros and I have to pay 35 euros out of 35%, which is 35 euros to our customers, there are 65 euros left. Is that right?
Right.
So now I have to double the 65 euros within 140 working days, which is more or less 7 months, right? So that's an easy calculation. That in other words, I have to be able to create around 12.x% per month. Is that right? It's easy to calculate in order to be able to pay back what we have to pay back, as an average of 0.7 and 1.25%. By the way, why is it 0.75 and 1.25%? Because this is our commitment to our customers. This range has to be possible all the time for us, out of our making money, so to say, making money process in behind a curtain. So whatever goes on, as long as we are able to pay this range based on a relatively complex algorithm with 20% or more reserve in the back end, we are able to sell as much packages as possible. If we cannot reach this 0.75% at least, we're going to slow down our sales of the packages, just so that, you know, could happen in the future. No reason for it at the moment, but it could happen. So back to the story. 65 euros, we have to double this within 140 working days in order to be able to pay the 140%. That means we need to find a way to create 12.x% per month. And how do we do that? We are doing mining. We are buying one container after the other to do altcoin mining and mining it all. But that's not really the main part where we are making money. The main part where we are making money, we are using our Genius software, which we have adapted to the cryptocurrency market. And we are trading like crazy, especially in these days. Selling, buying, selling, buying, selling, buying, based on automatic sell and buy trading arbitrage software. That's what we are doing. And I can tell you honestly, so far we are doing between 25 and 40% per month with your money. And sometimes we are doing 20% per week.
Wow.
And that's what we are doing in this market. And it's, I mean, don't get me wrong, we are paying only 40%. Only. But it's good money, I guess. It's good money, and especially with the compound effect, it's safe money. But we are making money as crazy with your input, to be honest. And as long as this is the case, we are totally safe, all of us.
Okay, so as I said before, this conversation about the reserves being damaged makes no sense to me whatsoever, based on and because of what has been said all along and in the past about the profitability of this investment of USI Tech and its products. Horst went through in this discussion all the numbers. It's all right there in one succinct place. You don't have to jump around from here to there to everywhere to get the information. It's all right there. Horst states that for them to be able to pay out everything that they need to pay out, the commissions and the 1% daily return, average 1% daily return, they need to produce about 12.x% per month. That's of all the money that is invested in BTC packs to be able to pay out all the commissions and the average 1% daily return. That's what they need, is 12.x% per month to be able to pay all of that. And Horst very clearly states that we are making money as crazy, 25 to 40% per month, and sometimes 20% per week. If that's the case, then why would they ever need to touch their reserves? They should have such a stockpile of money that they would never need to even get into reserves, the backup. They would have more than enough money just based on the sheer, on its face profitability of the company and its investments and its programs, unless something has happened to those investments, to those programs, to things they've been involved in. The company has never stated that its ability to trade in the markets, in Forex or in cryptocurrency, has gone away. They continue to claim that they are ramping up more and more in the cryptocurrency mining realm of things. The only thing that's ever been stated that I've ever heard is upward and onward. Never anything about this isn't working or that's not working. And if in fact that's the kind of percentages they're making, 25 to 40% per month, where they only need 12.x% per month. And sometimes they're making 20% per week. They should have such a stockpile of cash. And Horst, you heard him say that we should all be totally safe, all of us, as long as that's the case. And making money as crazy with your input being your money in investing in BTC packs. So I really don't understand. It makes no sense to me why the reserves would be damaged. Okay, so this brings us finally to issue 7 back office update, which actually we've covered pretty much everything for the most part that I wanted to cover with regard to the back office, mainly in our discussion about whether or not USI Tech had engaged with authorities in the United States. A lot of that was covered. The discussion about what's in the back office, the new memo, and the attorney letter that is linked in the memo in the back office now. Probably would have covered some of the back office stuff a little bit in more detail. However, this video has gone a little longer than I wanted, and maybe that's material for another day. But everybody should read, absolutely should read, several times the memo that is in the back office, as well as the attorney letter that is attached to the memo in the back office, and then consider the things that I've gone over in this video here today. There are some concerns. It seems that the company is trying to say that they never got in any trouble. They never did anything even allegedly illegal or wrong under U.S. law. That there's really no problem with the securities departments and divisions in the various different states or in the with the federal government. I've covered that clearly here. Texas State Securities Board clearly has communicated that that's not the case. They have overwhelmingly communicated that that's not the case, and that there continue to be issues. There continue to be issues generally in the U.S. about securities being registered or not, about the company that's selling those securities being registered or not, about the people who are selling those things for the company being licensed to be able to sell those securities. So those are things that everybody needs to be aware of. Need to govern yourselves accordingly so that you're not in trouble with the law yourself in selling those things and signing up new customers, which the company seems to be gearing everyone back up for in the future. And those are things that just you need to understand and realize, and not just run out and start signing people back up again, because these issues are still ongoing very clearly, as the Texas State Securities Board has said. And also, by USI Tech's own attorneys' statements, other states have regulatory issues now going on in those states. USI Tech's own attorneys state that they have regulatory issues going on in Hawaii, and there are two sides to the division of securities in Hawaii State. There is compliance, and then there is enforcement. The compliance division has indicated that they have no record of USI Tech, which means it would seem that USI Tech has taken no measures, not done anything, communicated in any way, shape, or form with the securities division compliance side for trying to get registered or to register their products or do any of those kinds of things. The indication that was made in the communication that was received was that we should communicate, we should contact the enforcement division to see if they have any ongoing investigations or complaints that have been filed against USI Tech, where USI Tech's own attorneys state that there are regulatory issues going on in Hawaii. It would seem with quote-unquote the authorities, which would be the securities division, then by that communication it would seem that those things would have to be on the enforcement side due to complaints and not on the compliance side due to applications to go through the necessary means to become registered and do all the things necessary to be fully compliant with the law, legal, and operating legally and appropriately. Okay, and that will bring this video to a close. I thank you for sticking with me and bearing with me through to the end. I know that this had a lot of material in it and took some time getting through. Hopefully it was helpful to you. Just one recommendation: don't put your head in the sand. Don't ignore these issues. Educate yourself. Get on top of these things. Not being informed is the very worst thing that you could do. And make sure that you understand things all on your own and not just following along behind whoever else as things proceed forward. So that'll be it for now. I hope this was of some use and help to you, and hope you have a wonderful day.